All right, ladies and gentlemen. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about Randy Pitchford. And yes, we're going to be talking about Borderlands 4. And the reason why is because, well, we need to do a little bit of a victory dance. We have to have a little bit of a laugh at the expense of some of the wild stuff that Randy Pitchford has decided to say when it comes to Borderlands 4. Now, the beautiful thing about Borderlands 4 is that he tried to convince all of you that the game is a premium game for premium gamers. When you guys told him you were having performance issues, he gaslit you and told you that it was your problem, that the reason why you're having issues is because you, the PC gamer, don't know how to set up your PC. Doesn't matter how long you've been PC gaming, doesn't matter how long you've had your PC for. You guys don't know what you're doing, and Randy Pitchford is going to be here to help you. Now, everybody remembers that meltdown that he had on X and on Twitter and all that glorious stuff. But apparently, Randy Pitchford is now coping because in a recent post, he decided to say that he's actually happy that he lives in a world where Borderlands 4 complaints aren't about how we fucked up the story after all. Now, the funny thing is that last I checked, at least on Twitter and X or whatever, nobody's talking about the story. Anybody that's talking about Borderlands 4, I haven't seen anybody talking about the story. I've seen everybody talking about the performance. If you want to know how little people are talking about the story, just go over to the Steam forums. You can clearly see that people are not talking about the story. The first thread that I see is Borderlands 4 is probably the worst Borderlands. Borderlands 4 sold as half as many copies as Borderlands 3, which, by the way, I said that many times in videos before. Looks like I was correct, and we're going to get into that in a second. This game will never escape the mixed review score. Why are the field boss arenas so small? The 200 plus hours in it, the game is not worth it. Now, here's the best thing about all of this that I really wanted to showcase in this video. If you guys remember, Randy Pitchford, during his entire coping session before the game came out, he tried to convince everybody the game was so premium that there's no way the game was ever going to be put on sale anywhere near as fast as the previous Borderlands games were, right? Because Borderlands has a reputation of going on sale very quickly and going on sale for a lot of money off, right? So everybody knows, like, you shouldn't really buy a Borderlands game day one because you could buy it much cheaper a month or two down the line, right? However, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you watching this video, I have the glorious news to showcase to you that we were right and Randy Pitchford was wrong. The game has sold so minimal in comparison to Borderlands 3 that the company has decided that, you know what? It's time to put this game on sale, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, the game Borderlands 4, as of the filming of this video, is officially 20% off from $69.99 to $55.99, and it is 20% off all across the board. So the original edition, the deluxe edition, and the super deluxe edition, the game is 20% off, and this is just hilarious. Now, keep in mind, guys, this game did not come out that long ago, okay? This game released on September 11th of 2025. That means that in about a month's time, the game has went to 20% off within 1 month's time. That has got to be a damn near record at this point. They are speed running this at this point. I will bet money right now that during the holiday season, Borderlands 4 will most likely be 50% off or less. It'll probably be anywhere between the current 20% all the way to 50% off during the holiday season because they have to catch up to the numbers, right? Borderlands 3, unfortunately, is getting was so much more successful than Borderlands 4, they can't keep up. Now, even though the concurrent number is higher with Borderlands 4 than it was with Borderlands 3, it doesn't mean that the sales are higher. This game has sold an estimated about 1 to 2 million copies on Steam. Borderlands 3 did damn near double that in half the amount of time. Borderlands 4 is not catching up to nowhere near where Borderlands 3 did in terms of numbers, and that's because they don't have the popularity of Borderlands 2 to bolster their numbers like Borderlands 3 did. Now, when we go over to the Steam forums, I want to go over what some of the people are saying about the game. Let's click this one. Burning Shadow says Borderlands 4 is probably the worst Borderlands. It feels like the makers took everything out that was fun in Borderlands 3 and replaced it with something dull and boring. As a general game, as it is uninspired, mediocre, open world game, as a Borderlands game, it is bad. Less loot, worse loot, Less humor, less story, the map is smaller and seems dead. The villains start off interesting but turn boring after a while. Even the Calypso twins in Borderlands 3 had some level of motivation, and the open world kills pacing and makes the whole thing actually seem smaller and more samey than the previous titles, right? People are clearly not talking about the story, right? People, if you scroll here, a premium game for premium gamers on sale now, bug filled and boring. This is amazing, right? People remember everything that Randy Pitchford said, and it's because, well, Randy Pitchford loves to talk his nonsense, right? So again, if you scroll down, Borderlands 4 melted my PC and murdered my children. People are trolling them, right? The performance is still a problem. The performance, this thread is 5 minutes ago for someone complaining about getting FPS dips that go all the way to 9 to 15 FPS, right? High CPU temperatures. There's so many issues that are happening with this particular game. Borderlands 4 sold half as many copies as 3. I certainly would have bought it if it wasn't for the performance issues. Hopefully, the low sales numbers teach the developers that it's not okay. Now, I don't think it's going to teach them anything personally. I think that they're going to be very happy with the sales that they got. And I think what they're going to do is they're going to try to play the long haul, the long game. And like they always do with all the Borderlands games, they're going to put them on sale and hope that, they just start racking up copies sold little by little. Even if they got to put the game for sale on at $5, they're going to do it. They've done it before. They'll do it again. Now, in terms of Randy Pitchford, let's go back to what he was talking about here. So this article is from PC Gamer that says Borderlands 4 has had some time to brew in the public conscious, and the general consensus, one that I agree with, is that the story is just fine. If anything, it's just a little bit too middle of the road, but given my key enjoyment of the game has a lot to do with the shooting and very little to do with the dialogue, I was happy to let inoffensive text warble in the background. Given what we've had before in Borderlands 3, it was still a big improvement, and even I found myself charmed by one or two character moments, not a terrible swerve from the outdated on-launch memes, all told. The folks at Gearbox are happy with the feedback. 2. Sam Winkler, the game's narrative lead, comments at the dev panel in PAX Australia 25 that it's been great. It's been really good. I'll be honest, I'm really happy with it. And hey, you know what? Winkler isn't wrong to feel that way. Now, I don't know why people would think that these developers would ever, I guess, speak out against their video game. Like, why would any developer openly admit that they're not happy with the game, that player community sentiment is overall negative about the game? Nobody's going to openly admit that, especially when they're on a panel, unless they're confronted by a question, directly, which usually they're not because they know exactly what they're going to be asked. I highly doubt that anybody would ever actually admit to that. Even when I'm at my most critical of video game stories, I try to appreciate that game development is an utter nightmare. Oh, so this is one of those like game development's hard, so you should just eat the slop kind of comments. I'm so tired of this. People try to say that because XYZ job is hard, that you should be okay with whatever the outcome may be and just try to look for the good in it. Sure, you could try to have fun with the video game, but that doesn't mean you should be sitting there and gaslighting people and lying about the game at all just because game development is hard. Of course it's hard. Most jobs are difficult. Why would you have to then sit there and eat through the bullshit just because it's hard? It makes no sense. Then Randy Pitchford hops in and gets a little more cynical. Isn't it weird to ship a game where the biggest complaint isn't how we fucked up the story? Not to drag out Gearbox's history, but Aliens Colonial Marines was the thing. Even recently, PCG contributor Rick Lane described it as one of the most infamous misfires in gaming history. Filled with bugs and terrible AI, a disaster so big that Gearbox was part of a lawsuit over which, to be fair, Gearbox was later dropped from. I'm absolutely nitpicking here, but from this foible was from over a decade ago, but I'm also not sure I'd say something like this, were I the CEO in charge of one of the most infamous video game flubs of the medium's history. Well, it's not even just that. They've also been part of a lot of backlash regarding Borderlands 3 also. A lot of people did not like Borderlands 3 in comparison to Borderlands 2, and that is a lot more recent. So you don't necessarily have to go that far back to see some issues with Gearbox and their decisions when making their video games. So overall, ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to laugh at this story because I thought Randy Pitchford would hold to his guns, and I thought he might have tried to convince the publisher to not put the game on sale as quickly as they did. But it seems like there is no faith in the numbers. The numbers must have dragged to a halt completely in order to make them put the game on sale this quickly. If the game is 20% off in 1 month and Randy Pitchford was out here super confident that it wasn't going to be put on sale for years, there is clearly something wrong with the numbers. Even though they look fairly good on paper, there's something missing and they're not happy with it and they're trying to course correct and save the ship. This sale only lasts till October 20th, but I'm sure this is going to be the first of many for this particular year alone. So you guys let me know in the comments down below. What do you think about all this nonsense? Do you laugh at the fact that Borderlands 4 is now on sale, considering they promised they wouldn't be for a long time? Or did you see this coming like we all did? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching this video. And if you enjoyed it, consider hitting that like and subscribe. And I will see you guys on the next one.